Well, Kyle?
Yes, Garrett.
They mentioned Moonbreeder!
Part 2. Zone 2. Zone 1 for some.
Zone 2 for us. And that's all that matters. I don't care about your playthrough, I care about my playthrough. This isn't a channel about your playthrough, this is a channel about my playthrough. Unless you are Kyle, then it's also a channel about your playthrough.
I know some people have said the start of Endwalker is slow, but slow to me is a retread, which I guess we did have the quiz with Alphino in part 1, but there's no, catch-up character or someone constantly saying, what are Asians? It's just nice to be in the thick of it and not be treated like a dummy.
Yeah, there's no fish out of water character.
I think it's an interesting choice. And you do have to choose if you're going to have this audience insert Luke Skywalker kind of sort of guy going on. We do have Estinian just joining the Scions, so there's an opportunity there for someone to be introduced to Scion paperwork, but we're just going.
Being introduced to the wrath of Tataru if he makes any more frivolous purchases.
Right, but that joke would just fall flat if you skipped Stormblood. So what I'm saying is, I like Endwalker's start. I like that we're off to the races. We're doing important stuff here. We're even getting to our towers business pretty quickly. And it doesn't feel like a marketing ploy. I think that's really where my sensitivity comes from nowadays with an expansion is, now's the perfect time. This would be a horrible time to join. Just enjoy Endwalker. Don't worry about pushing people into the new expansion ASAP. Doesn't come with a free boost.
Dude, I'm so with you. I can't stand it when it feels like a marketing ploy, and I'm so glad that they didn't tell you now is the perfect time to subscribe, and click the bell.
That is true, though.
But before we get into it, speaking of subscribing, make sure you subscribe to the channel because if you were unaware, this is where we live stream, right here on the Grinding Gear YouTube channel, and we even can schedule our streams, so we give you plenty of notice when an MSQ stream is coming up if you want to be a part of that. And I guess we can give you notice right now because if you're watching this video the week it came out, then tomorrow is, we think, our first dungeon in the Endwalker MSQ. We've been warned. I think we're heading towards that tower that we're about to talk about. Subscribe and watch our stream. Back to the video. So it's time for us at least to go to Thavnair, because you can choose. You can choose what order you do it in, and I loved how the shadow of Moonbreeder hung over this opening segment. We went all the way back to Charlian, and we never met Moonbreeder's parents, but when you kick off your journey to Thavnair, Oriange talks about the fact that one of the places we're going to end up going is where Moonbreeder's parents live, and we all find out that he hasn't spoken to them since Moonbreeder died, all the way back in Realm Reborn. And if you watch our channel, you know that I haven't gotten over Moonbreeder dying since all the way back in Realm Reborn.
We also get introduced to Kitty? Kit? Cat?
I've been saying Kit.
Who put forth a new type of ethereal transfer device. We have non-attunable or no need to attune crystals now, which sounds to me like a great way to end up in the ethereal sea or somewhere awful. Transporter malfunction.
How dare you attribute this to Kit? Moonbreeder figured this out all the way back in Realm Reborn.
That is true. Oh, yes. Yeah, but bringing it together. There was a reason for Moonbreeder. I support you. I think Moonbreeder was a cute nod. I don't focus on the character. Papa Limo class, in my opinion.
Oh, she'd have to be lame and forgettable to be Papa Limo.
But we do bring back the hunt for Iceheart and the ability to trace an ethereal presence through the crystals, and we're able to make a one-way trip with ethereal sickness, which is a great, great bit of world building.
And a great bit of humor in a otherwise kind of dry introduction to the zone.
Dry? Oh, it's like a desert, dry?
Well, we're on a coast surrounded by water dealing with fishermen, so it's not that dry.
This is a great little moment before it makes the character seem real. You shiver when it's cold, you sweat when it's hot, you barf when you ride the ethereal roller coaster. It's all just good characterization to get us to the place we're going, which of course is all out of fish.
Well, one person has plenty of fish, and after we came to town, They still have plenty of fish.
More than enough fish.
Yeah. Oofarino. So we finish not helping Matsuya make any money at all, and then continue running around with Matsuya, getting the lore of all the religions after we save him from attempted to be kidnapped by a bunch of tempered Gurlian soldiers.
We are putting a veil over what our next primal might be, but we have this whole animal head, body, three goddess kind of thing going on. So who knows? But they're adding some mystery to our upcoming primal, which I really like. And I'm very, very excited to see what's in the old Tower of Zot.
I mean, this is our first time meeting the Ark of Sodara. I, for one, love the elephant people. I think they're a really fun model, especially with the color palette going on here in the robes that they wear, having a muted kind of gray elephant underneath these gorgeous like tapestry of robes really works. Really, really works for me. It's a great decision by the art directors. But it's our first time meeting them, right? We don't really know what their beliefs are. All we know is that they're being kidnapped, put into one of these towers, and we have to sit there and think, well, what primal could come out of it? Because so far we've fought lunar primals from areas of Eorzea that we're familiar with. So we've seen lunar Bahamut. We knew that was coming. We saw lunar Odin. We fought lunar Odin, which was cool.
Yep, lunar Odin.
Yeah, and multiple primals that we're already aware of. So it's a mystery. We don't know what we're going to get, but I bet it's going to have a human body and an animal head.
And we do get to see a little image of tapestry of the three goddesses looking ready to stab somebody. This is just the name drop part. It's so when we get to the goods later on, you go, oh yeah, I remember. And you feel rewarded in the story and it all feels like it came from somewhere. This could be the thickest, most boring laid on thing. And so they decided to humor it up. Particularly when we get to the Great Work, which is like this great alchemy tower with lots of cool little lanterns. The Indian-style architecture and colors here is really making the entire scene pop and making it feel very unique from anything we've experienced before. And the Great Work does confirm some important things. First of all, that alchemists are insane and wacky, and Asinian will have none of it. But also that they are working on a talisman, some sort of device that is going to allow them to resist tempering. So we have our cure for tempering, and now we might have resistance to tower influence. Whether those are the same things is not yet to be seen, but we do have a big scene with the Drunken Deepa. I don't know why it's called that, but a talking, very excited lantern that confirms, despite Hydaelyn showing up a few times and being like, hey, my powers are real weak right now, we still have our resistance to the tower.
Yeah, makes us go out and test it. And I have nothing in my head is making me think that this like making like a ward to shield you from tempering and curing tempering are related or the same thing, because they seem to be making a big deal about the difference between the two. Sure seems like these talisman, if we can mass produce them, would be a lot more convenient, because we've seen how much it takes out of Alizé and all of us to try and actually cure someone of tempering.
And if you cured while in range of the tower, there's no resistance after the other side of that.
Just happen again.
It would just happen again. And even our future scene confirms that, hey, talisman worked. You could just be grabbed at the end of the day.
We did unknowingly go into a tower that Anasian was just hanging out in and waiting for. I mean, I guess we knew for a hot second, but we get distracted immediately upon seeing Fandaniel. But that's later.
Later. It seemed like a bad idea. Who did the chains better? Later.
I hate you. You don't need to.
No, there's no need. Speaking of, Fanny Daniel, he's doing his best Emmett impression, hanging out, watching everybody.
Yes, he's personally spying on the Hanish people, and he's fully aware that they're working on temper shielding talismans. And even mentions, while he's talking to himself, like the freak he is, that would be bad for his plans. But then he's also like, but I'm just kind of curious to see if they can do it. Which makes a little more sense at the tail end of this zone, where I believe the meat of our conversation is going to live.
The game's dropping hints for later. We'll get to that later. Also, hey, talismans are made of dragon scales. Where'd you get the dragon scales? More on that later. The game's well written and introduces ideas as they come up, so it doesn't feel like things come out of nowhere.
No, but we get a name drop of Owen here, Kyle, and so that was a good time to revisit a wonderful Star Wars reference.
Oh, something. Owen?
And Peru?
Yeah, I guess his name. The name Owen is also a Star Wars reference.
He's doing Star Wars style projections.
There's also, I guess, an Owen in another Final Fantasy, but other Final Fantasies love their Star Wars references, so probably all comes back to that. But I was talking about the fact that Owen appears to us like a damn Princess Leia 2, Obi-Wan Kenobi, R2-D2 recording out of an elegant construct from back in patch 5.4, which is where we first heard the name Owen when we were out investigating a cure for tampering with Alizé and Graha out in Azus Law. Owen was an elegant researcher, Kyle. If you don't remember the scene, Owen learned how primals, how icons as Elegans call them, tempered, corrupted, as Elegans call it, people, and they sought a way to shield people from tempering, ending with many of his colleagues becoming tempered, and then they had to be put to death because that's how the Allegan Empire handled tempering. We also found out from this recording with Owen that Lord Amon, important for later, deemed the pursuit of a cure, quote, non-essential, and shut down Owen's research. And then when Owen pressed the matter, Amon just full-on expelled Owen from his own research facility and just stripped him of rank and file.
Huh. Wonder what was going on there.
Also, Kyle, at the end of that original cutscene with the Owen recording, Graha Tia had a rather telling throwaway line, or at least it seemed like a throwaway line at the moment. He said, "One cannot help but wonder what motivated Lord Amon's decision." Yes, Graha. What indeed?
Maybe we were in 5.4. It makes sense we were setting up stuff for the next expansion. However, it is interesting that old Amon, sitting in the Crystal Tower, extra big, for actual reasons because he messed with his body through cloning and alchemy, suddenly has some relevance outside of his giant not for red mage hat.
Yes. Also, before we sat down to record, I revisited a ton of Crystal Tower cutscenes because I didn't know I was going to stick with the game. I wasn't that sold yet.
That's fair.
I didn't pay that close attention to the Crystal Tower when I went through it. I didn't remember, Amon was the one to seal the tower the first time. Graha even mentions it in like one of the final cutscenes when you're wrapping up the Crystal Tower all the way back in Realm Reborn. So yeah, Amon, suddenly really important.
Yeah, interesting, right? Did you take a look at the room you fight him in back in the Crystal Tower? It's a theater.
Seriously?
You fight him in a theater, yeah, right? It all kind of lines up,
all
doesn't
Asians like theater kids?
Of course they are. You know, with their machinations, their plans, their multiple personalities. Yep, theater kids.
So Amon was overly dramatic, became Fandaniel, but he and Emmett didn't get along. You would think Emmett and I guess there's a big difference between a thespian and a theater kid, and Fandaniel is definitely the latter.
When we first saw the scene, what I was excited about was just more monster models of hybrids and terrible transformed humans and oh no, I'm changing kind of moments. Apparently we use all of it. No surprise.
Every part of the story of Buffalo.
We just did Shadowbringers, obviously, and the Crystal Tower was pretty important there. However, bringing up these really kind of gritty pieces of it, I'm not asking for like a Star Wars special edition. I don't need giggling androids in the corner or anything like that, but you know, maybe the Crystal Tower could just use a little sprinkle of love. Maybe replace that PNG image that's shining through the window at one point. Maybe just call attention to it. You know, let's say you're going through a Realm Reborn. It's all feeling, you know, kind of 2012-y in there, but you're aware, you know the game's going places, and you hit this part of the game where the quality just jumps up for some reason. Makes you pay attention a little more. What the hell's with the World of Darkness? What, Noah? What? Who's the fanfic character?
Emperor clone?
What? Yeah. And then we have like the clones of Dogga and whoever they are, and like Nero gets made of rock candy. And you got the muscle grab of Sid and the running. Like the retention here was low at the time period.
It is so much thrown in your face. And I just wasn't that. I was so confused by all the Allegan stuff that I just haven't been that interested in any of the Allegan lore until now. Because now through Fandaniel, it's simultaneously making me interested in Fandaniel, who just after Emmett, I was like, oh my God, I just don't care about you. And also Alec, So yeah, I don't know, man. There's a whole other conversation about how like, I honestly, if I was sitting there and I was in charge of calling the shots over in Final Fantasy 14, I'd be sitting there being like, can we just cut out all of the Crystal Tower and just put it like right before Shadowbringers? Like you echo or something. And you just experience it all in the past, but it's closer to when it's relevant.
The audience around it, they don't want you to stop because Crystal Tower seems like too much. So, of course, your friends are going to be like, don't worry about that right now. But then you go to Void Ark, and I think that kind of reinforces that idea of like, oh, Alliance raids are made up. They don't matter. Everything's just made up in Alliance raids. They do matter, except Ivalice. About it.
They do matter, except Ivalice.
Ivalice gets really big in Boja, but that's not really helping my point because Boja is also kind of like side story stuff.
Yeah, and the Bun
but
girls,
you know what I mean? Like,
they don't really get important until Shadowbringers, and they're all in the first, and they have no relationship to Ivalice at all. So,
and I'm not saying that Void Ark could be unimportant because would I want to explore that more? Hell yeah! I'd love to do a whole Void Darkness Demon World Alice in Wonderland expansion. That'd be great.
Which, by the way, is kind of my like little pet theory for Dawn Trail.
I think so too. Yeah, I think they're gonna go hard on
Dawn in the Sun. Is just gonna be like, surprise Void, motherfuckers.
Yep, here comes the 13th. Brr,
just ripping through another crack in reality, just like a evil dark Kool-Aid man. Just oh no.
Like Planet X, Nibiru, all those kind of conspiracies. Like, the 13th is getting too close again, and we're going to have crossover. Oh, yeah, that'd be blast. That'd be an absolute blast.
Be good stuff.
So that's why, just that little, like, hint of 2025 quality whenever they can get to that update that makes you go, what the shit is going on in here? Maybe I should pay more attention.
Yeah, it's been just been bouncing around my brain since we finished this playthrough. It's just like I should revisit the Crystal Tower, and I sat here for 2 hours a day rewatching all of the Crystal Tower cutscenes and making little notes. Anyway, neither here nor there. Crystal Tower is suddenly very fresh in my memory again, but not those mechanics. I will never learn those mechanics.
Mechanics are for cars. So, back to modern times. We run around.
We do a lot of fetch quests.
But we get a lay of the land. We get to meet the Radiant Host.
Yeah, basically the Royal Guard of the Satrap of Radzatan.
Oh, Satrap's such a good word.
It is a good word. It is a very good word. And I like how just nice everybody is. It's not like Realm Reborn leading into Heaven's Ward, where everyone from Ishgard was just like, ooh, outsider. Oh, I don't know about you. Finally.
All right.
Oh my, y'all, things are bad since the tower showed up. I am so glad you're here. We really should establish an internet because we cannot get news from outside of our own country. It's bad. Our economy is in shambles because everyone's just getting kidnapped. No one's leaving the city to buy stuff from the outskirts. I'm sorry, elephant people. I'm sorry. Everyone's just happy. Just wants help. They're here to, and I'm just glad. It's cool. I feel like so many other narratives would just get lost in the, ooh, outsider. We don't know about you. We don't know about, if anything, it goes the other direction. We're like, we don't know about you because you're trying to rip us off in the market.
It would also be a retread of what's happening over in old Charlayan, so I wouldn't be down for 2 of those in a row.
Yeah, no, you didn't say it right, Kyle. We're going to get comments. I love the little scene we get at the end of all of this back and forth, traveling around, building the talisman, testing and making sure that it works. I love the scene we get between Thancred, Orion J, Astinian, and technically us, but we're just standing there like the mute himbo that the Warrior of Light is. They're just taking a moment to just like stew in the stakes of the war that we find ourselves in. It's a good moment. It's a good moment, especially since it still falls in what I would consider the beginning of Endwalker. Like this, setting the stakes, coming to terms with those stakes. 3 bros that have all been so close to death at different times, thinking about what lay ahead of them and, the consequences.
We also get to see how embroiled Destinian's going to become. I mean, we had the little scene where they're like, wait, you got dragon blood? Oh my God, not only are you awesome, but there's a good chance you might also be immune to the tower's influence. Have you seen this guy? This guy's great. And he jumps in with kind of a little bit of doom and gloom, but broing out with our fellow bros on our bro venture here.
The only other character in this game that has just picked up the same amount of like complicated, overpowered powers is Grahatia. I feel like he and Athenian should just make a club for people that have taken in too much power.
And we could be a part of that too. All big powers should have a curse with them. That's just good writing.
Yeah, ours is kind of just a headache, though, and those headaches are usually convenient because they tell us the past, so we're a little overpowered.
I mean, I could go without a couple of flashbacks in Stormblood.
It'd be bad in real life. Can you imagine, man, having the echo and you run into an old high school friend and you flash back to like the most embarrassing memory of high school?
Fordola embodies that. There was that movie Unbreakable that did that. I wouldn't want anywhere near those powers.
Oh, and of course, at the end of this, conveniently, our Warrior of Light spots Fandaniel just as the talisman is completed and everybody's excited and we get distracted and don't really think about, how that impacts everything.
Any moment now.
And we're off to what I think is the pinnacle, quite literally, but also figuratively, of this the starting Thavnair experience, which is we're off to the tower with Nidhana. I'm just thinking about how sad Matsuya will be. He's down bad. Matsuya is down bad for Nidhana. Just a lore atomic bomb, just a Barbenheimer of Fandaniel Allegan lore drops. We're just like, hey, are you the type of person that likes the ancient civilization lore in this game? Well, hey, do you prefer Allegan or Ascian? Surprise, both. How about both? You want both? Because we're giving you both. We're loading it up into a cannon and we're shoving it down your gullet.
Now, to be fair, it was already both together because Emmett had a hand in the Allegan Empire, but I, of course, assumed that maybe he was Amon because he was the emperor, right?
Well, he was the emperor of Garlemald. He wasn't the emperor.
Yeah.
He wasn't Emperor Zande. We're
Right, but I
about
thought
to
maybe he
invoke
would've-
the emperor of Alleg, so we need to be specific.
Oh my god. Yes. He wasn't both of them, but it seemed like he could be because that's kind of what he's into. Imperial roleplay. However, in this case, he was just doing Ascian stuff, and we got to see his mask, which was the mask that was in the center of Hades, which was a nice little like, hey, you knew it, but here it is.
That's right. In the cutscene where we see how he meddled in the creation of Innocence, we don't see his mask, but he's still in the hood. And then when we see him in the robe at the end, when he dies, he has his mask off because he's an actor and he wants to make sure the helmet gets knocked off as much as possible so that you get to see him emote. And this is why I respect the Mandalorian.
Masks can stay on.
Yes. It also means you don't need to bring in Pedro Pascal and he can just do most of his shit by voice. I didn't really think about the Ascian Allegan stuff too much with Emmett because it feels like more of an aside to me in Shadowbringers. We don't see it. We actually see it here. We see Emmett Selk standing in Alleg, right? Like talking directly to Amon as the fall of the Allegan Empire rages in the background. I geeked out during all of this. So we find out that Amon was called up to take the station of Fandaniel. That Fandaniel was the name of one of the members of the convocation. And here's where I'm a little fuzzy, and it's fine. I'm sure someone will let me know in the comments, but the way I read this is that Amon was a shard of Fandaniel, because Emmett refers to it as like, take your rightful place. The spot is yours.
Right. This would be the elevation that the unsundered Ascians were capable of.
Yes, that Emmett mentioned in completely skippable text during Shadowbringers.
But here it is all spelled out. We also have a nice little scene where the Emperor of Alleg, important to note, is looking on at what I assume to be the Ethereochemical Research Facility core, where we see all the gooey goodness later on. So there's some nice little crossing of the streams that we have going on here with fleshy stuff and Allegan tech. And then you put Garlemald tech in there, and you got yourself the Tower of Zot, or any of these towers hanging around. Amon is the cloning / alchemical / self-experimenting expert in this area.
And so as the Allegan Empire fell, Emmett Selk offered Amon a way out. Even instructed Amon to send one of his clones to the Crystal Tower to quote-unquote see it for himself, while Emmett was trying to convince him that Alleg is doomed. Don't die for your pride, you idiot. Come instead, answer a higher calling.
Well, canonically, if you killed Amon in the Crystal Tower back in A Realm Reborn, he would not have been alive to fan Daniel around, so it had to be a clone, and we've now justified. In case you were worried about that plot hole over there, it's covered here.
Yeah, and the Emperor was a clone anyway, but we already knew that back in the Crystal Tower. But yes, Fandaniel, Amon, I don't even know what to call him anymore.
I think you could. No, you could. That's a seat. You'd call it Fan Daniel, and he even does like a voice change when he goes into Amon mode.
Who could be expected to remember every trivial detail?
I think we keep calling him Fan Daniel around here.
Yes. However, he makes a big deal about how he doesn't think of himself as Fan Daniel. It even has a direct quote that says,
Eventually, I was recruited into the Ascians and imbued with the former Fan Daniel's knowledge and memories, but I never felt that they were truly a part of who I am.
I think for all intents and purposes, Fandaniel is more Amon than Amon is Fandaniel.
I think that's fair.
We're dealing with an Allagan piloting an Ascian, not an Ascian piloting an Allagan.
Yeah, which is an interesting thought because it was very easy to assume if you were promoted to Ascian that all those old memories would make up the bulk of you. But that's not the case here.
Yeah, it's just like a book on a shelf for Amon. Like Fandaniel is a book on a shelf. So to me, it's like I'm thinking of him more as Amon now because it seems like the personality is more Amon.
And with the theater kind of background that you fight Amon in, he has a very powerful personality, which is now being showcased through Asahi. And outside of funding, there seems to be almost no Asahi in here. Maybe someday we'll have like a battle of wills, but I don't see Asahi's body putting up a big fight about it.
Only if Asahi got like shot into another corpse a la Xenos, but that just doesn't seem to be how this works. But anyway, I find this fascinating. Like I mentioned earlier, I really didn't care for Fandaniel when Fandaniel was introduced. To me, it was like, and I felt the same with Elidibus. After the end of 5.0, the absolute pinnacle of writing that I see, Emmett's eventuality, every other Ascian, I'm just like, get behind Emmett. Like, just doesn't matter. Not that interested. And then Fandaniel shows up and he's just being a big goofball in a room with Xenos, who I think is cooler. I'm just like, God, who I've killed? You know how many Ascians I've killed? What makes you so special? You're even sundered.
Damn.
This is really interesting. This is a great spin. Like I'm really intrigued by the idea of looking at Fandaniel as more an Allagan first and an Ascian second, because basically every other Ascian that we've dealt with has been more an Ascian first. Elidibus notwithstanding, because Elidibus had his own multitude of issues.
And it's setting up Fandaniel to be more of the primary villain in that way and Xenos to be the puppet. I think this elevates Xenos' chances of temporary friendship, Megatron, any of these sort of types. There's a good chance we quest alongside Xenos. And then, of course, have to say, hey, bud, you're kind of nuts. Maybe we should defeat you anyway. But that team up is more at the forefront of my mind now that we're seeing Fandaniel work more independently.
I still feel like my hopes of a frenemy situation with Xenos has been completely destroyed. Like my head isn't there at all anymore, because I have to imagine Xenos is fully aware of everything that Fandaniel is planning and is totally okay with it as long as he just gets one more shot to throw down with us.
We'll see.
Fandaniel Amon is our greater cosmic threat, along with whatever's going to end up happening with Zodiark and Hydaelyn, because if this is the end of it all, we've got to be reconciling with the two gods that we found out were primals. Xenos is our more personal, like, mirror reflection hurdle we must clear at this point. Xenos is the anti-warrior of light.
And we find ourselves being let go, which obviously the game must continue, but for story's sake, we still have our part to play. And it's not just battling Xenos.
Your favorite playmate is ever so eager to see.
A vast rock squats upon Thavnair, and to its stony surface clings the city of Rads at Han.
So with Nidhana up in the wall, we escape, and we're off to meet the satrap.
Yeah, we finally get to go into Rads at Han. There's both these cutscenes. It's just big meaty cutscenes at the end of Thavnair here. We get one really long one going in the tower with Fandaniel, and then we get another really long one getting to Radzad Han with the boys' trip. Reminds me, like, I haven't thought about the movie The Hangover in a while, but this is some hangover vibe to this entire zone, and I'm kind of into it.
Road trip! Yeah, you know, barfing on the way in. Yep, yeah, it checks out, and it's a little Vegas-y up in here.
Do we refer to them as the Wolf Pack? And which one of them would wear a satchel?
Oriange.
Oh, of course. He'd also be the one that would know how to gamify blackjack.
As for who brings the drugs, I don't know.
Definitely Thancred. 100% Thancred.
Thancred's got the drugs.
Thancred absolutely has the drugs.
It's a great looking city. They tease it, but we're not actually able to explore. We have to walk straight down the streets, and it has one of my favorite tropes, and it's a very, very simple one, which is, I don't know, let's call it the Padme, that you've been questing alongside the real king the whole time.
Yes, and this is a particularly Final Fantasy XIV specific way to do that.
He's made of eyes.
But eye.
Well, yes, an eye, but yeah, they like eyes in this game. Big on eyes.
Dude, after revisiting all of the Crystal Tower cutscenes, yeah, because at the end you've got the two clones bestowing upon Grahatia like one more matching royal eye, because when we originally meet Grahatia, he only has the one red eye and the other one's blue, and by the end of everything that happens in the Crystal Tower, he has two full sets of royal eyes. And then I was thinking, yeah, this game loves taking out and giving eyes.
Windows to the soul.
Yeah, here you have it again with it's Varshan, the little child Ara that's been following us around the whole time, which I was a little suspicious about. Varshan looked a little too important. That robe looks special.
You're doing the Scooby-Doo logic thing where the robe looked a little too nice.
Exactly.
Is what
The
I'm
door,
hearing.
you can tell the door that's going to open. You can tell the book on the shelf that's going to move. I like this as well. The Padme, the child ruler. These are all kind of tropes that appear in a lot of fiction. This is a particularly devious way to do it within the world of Final Fantasy XIV. And also using rules I didn't even know we had. Or they're just like, yeah, and a dragon popped out his eye and just made a simulacrum so it could walk around and rule without people being like, holy shit, we're ruled by a dragon.
Well, we're not ruled by a dragon, right? We're ruled by a fake emperor whose family has had a long line, which is another trope I really enjoy. I love the burden on a family bloodline to just be fakers for all time.
Yeah, but they're like super proud of it because they're I mean, yeah, it's very paladin, it's very Knights Guard type of a situation, but they're not really ruling. They're a figurehead. The dragon's really ruling. But then also, honestly, earlier when we talked to Nidhana, when we were looking at the vista of Radzad Han, she's like, yeah, no, the satrap's really just more of a mediator. We kind of govern ourselves, and when there's an impasse, the satrap finds an amenable solution. Kind of like hand waving, like, don't worry, we're not like old school oligarchy here.
But Asinian's having none of it. The man is pumped full of dragon blood and other powers too, and he senses something behind the curtain. Please pay attention to the man behind the curtain, because it's a dragon, the youngest of Midgardsormr's brood, which he said in eloquent fashion.
Yeah, Vitra, the dragon that's name dropped in the Endwalker trailer.
Oh, yeah. Spoiler from the trailer. This whole place is going to go to shit, but I figured everything would in Endwalker
Yeah, everything
anyway,
that happens in a trailer doesn't actually happen. Yes, Kyle, my favorite part of Shadowbringers was when Emmett went inside a gremlin and just started talking mad shit.
Dragon eyes can be weapons, they can be infused in things, they can possess people, so it's not that far of a jump to say, hey, it can form a whole boy.
They're an object of power. I'm really hungry to see what happens next. I would have kept going if it wasn't late and we didn't need to make videos. So Vitra wants us to help lead an assault on the tower.
There is a line here about how we can't bring an extended force because of the tightness of the area. Is it huge inside? Yes. Would that fit in the building? I don't know. Maybe it's underground. You think I give a shit? That place looks awesome. I can't wait to go in there. And I don't mind if the candles are lit. This is going to be sweet, and I'm hoping it's our first dungeon deep dive of the expansion.
Teasing a future video, and we don't even know if we're actually doing a dungeon?
We don't even know. But, if we don't make one, we secretly that it sucked, and that's our opinion.
Oh, wow. Wow. You can't do this. Is he allowed to do that?
And Estinian, in all his Batman way, he ain't even got time to say yes. It's go time.
It's good character growth. I mean, we've already had scenes, and particularly in 5.4 got referenced multiple times today. Particularly in 5.4, we've already seen that Athenian has kind of cooled his bloodlust for dragons. But here we have it where Athenian has grown so much as a character, he doesn't even feel it's necessary to tell everybody that he's on board. He thinks it's just assumed. He's a great character. I love every man in this room. Thancred still kind of think he should have died in Shadowbringers, but I'm glad you're here.